Welcome to a new quarantining with OLLAS. This week, we're talking with Dr. Cecilia Tocaimaza-Hatch from the Department of Foreign Language, Spanish, and faculty in OLLAS as well. Cecilia, please, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do as in teaching and research at UNO?
So thank you for having me today and for this time to chat a little bit. So I teach Spanish. Mostly I teach classes that have to do with language learning, with Spanish linguistics. And I also teach basic courses, introductory courses to the Spanish language. In my research, I specialize also in figuring out how people learn languages. And so I do a lot of language acquisition, and I specialize mostly in the area of vocabulary learning. So I try to investigate how students can strengthen their lexicon, how they can diversify the number of words that they know and use them, and how they can use them in conversation with people. So language for authentic uses.
Nice. And in your work, in your teaching, you incorporate what UNO is service learning, one of the important components of UNO's work. Can you tell us a little bit why including service learning in your teaching is important, and what is service learning for you?
Yeah. When I first came to UNO, it really caught my attention how committed the university is to service learning, because service learning allows students to be involved in the community at large, so to be in contact with people who live in Omaha and who are not students. And so for me, it was really important to incorporate that into my classes, because it would allow students to be out there and practice the Spanish language, and at the same time do something, meet in the community, learn about them. And so it was really a win-win situation, really, to find opportunities where students can be out there, serve the community, and at the same time the community facilitates so many things, so much knowledge for my students. So that's something that's been very important in my teaching. It's something that I've tried to do in many of the classes that I teach. So I have worked in several projects. Just to mention a couple, one that we are really proud of is our collaboration with the Joslin Museum. And we organize a big Hispanic Cultural Festival every 2 years. We were going to host the festival in April, but it had to be canceled. And so the purpose of the festival is to bring Latino people into the museum so they can rejoice in celebrating their cultures, and also helping them become acquainted with the museum, what it has to offer. So that has been a collaboration that has helped us to create some of those connections with people here locally, and we see it as a way also to celebrate and honor who Latino people are, those Latino people who live here in Omaha. Another project that I've been really proud of has been our collaboration with Completely Kids, where we had a literacy program in Spanish. So many of the kids in our communities, they grow up learning English, and sometimes they have a hard time appreciating the language their parents or their grandparents speak. So in those projects, my students have worked with the children through story time, for example, in trying to promote the use of the Spanish language and validating the language that they speak. So those have been really neat experiences that we've had that have helped us help the community, and at the same time, the community has been incredible in welcoming our students and teaching them as well.
And what are some of the future projects that you have in terms of service learning?
So now we're developing new courses. So I'll be teaching in the fall an introductory course for healthcare professionals. So it's going to introduce people to the basics of the Spanish language in the healthcare setting. And so that is something that I would like to see how we can communicate, participate with organizations here locally that provide healthcare services, and see if we can have my students participate in some collaboration with them by facilitating then the communication in those settings, and perhaps making it easier for people to access the services that they offer. So that's something that I have in mind right now, and that's something that we're developing the content of these classes right now, but I would like to start looking into some potential collaborations. So it will be trying to find those partners in the next year.
Yeah. Considering the impact of COVID-19 in the Latino community in South Omaha, a course like that is vital for everyone who's working in health in this area. That's a really interesting course.
Yeah, so exactly. So that's something that we're just launching this fall at the first class. Hopefully we'll be able to get enough people to attend and enroll in the class, and then we'll be able to continue with the following courses. But that's the idea, right? So the first time that we're offering the class is going to be an online class. And so we're going to introduce people to the basics of language in that setting. And the idea is then when things perhaps go back to normal, to be able to do some hands-on experience where people can actually utilize the language that they're learning, such as filling out forms and interviewing, assessing a patient, and things like that. So that's something that we are looking forward to doing once things get back into some sort of normal. Mm-hmm.
Great. So you mentioned that service learning with the Latino community is important for cultural reasons and for learning language. Is there any other reason why you like to work in service learning with the Latino community, or why you think the service learning projects are important for the Latino community?
Mm-hmm. So the first, when I heard about service learning in UNO, I started researching it and seeing all the wonderful things that it can do for both the community and for students. One thing that for me has been really important in terms of service learning is that it is a way to provide access, to create bridges. And for example, my interest in working with Jocelyn came from one time that I went to visit Jocelyn with my family. And I noticed that there was a family there, a Latino family, who were very hesitant. The children were very hesitant about actually participating and feeling comfortable in that space. And I thought it's so important that all the spaces are in that community are welcoming to these children and welcoming to these families. I mean, they had made it to the museum already. Now they just need a little push so they know that they belong in there as well, that the children could go and play in that play area with all the rest of the other kids. And so for me, that's something that's been really important. So in terms of creating access for the community, not only just to information, so it's good that they gain information, but it's also important that they gain access to fun, to enjoyment, so they can have participate in the same things that the rest of the community participates in. One other project that we have done in the past has been to provide translations for different organizations. Like we work with the Children's Zoo in Lincoln. And so the idea again was to provide access so people not only gain information about the animals or the different things that they can see there, which is very valuable, but also so they can have fun, as much fun as everybody else. And so I think that's important to recognize that people who speak a different language are welcomed everywhere, and that especially children, that they can feel that they belong. And I think that that was important for me, and I saw service learning as a good way to promote that in small ways, that I could promote that working with my students and helping people to achieve those things.
Wonderful. And for all this, you also got an award from service learning. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, so yeah, I received an award, Outstanding Faculty Award or something. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, so I think it was a great honor because I know that lots of faculty in UNO are deeply devoted to service learning. So to be recognized like that was really, really, um, I don't know, it was really important for me and really humbling in a way as well. So one of the things that I feel that I've been able to contribute with in terms of service learning is that I have published quite a few pieces. I have to do articles. I have to do with service learning and language learning. And I think that that's been a bit of a contribution as well to my field in being able to describe to other researchers or other teachers, language teachers, all the things that can be done with service learning, you know, and the challenges that come with it as well. Not everything is always easy, but my hope has always been that, you know, I can learn from the experiences, the students can learn from the experiences, and then share that knowledge with others in the language teacher community, so they can see how they can implement something like this. Service learning can be really wonderful if done for the right reasons. And so I think that it's important to keep that in mind as well, and understanding what your place is in performing these roles, and who you really are, and what the community, and in acknowledging also what the community is doing for you as a student, and in your own growth as a person and a human being as well. So that's really something to appreciate then and be grateful for. And you know, so that was really neat, a very special thing to be recognized like that. And yeah, and I hope that, you know, I can continue to keep working with these projects, and despite the challenges that come along with them. But I feel that there's always so much positive that come for everybody involved. Yeah.
Well, thanks. Thank you very much, Cecilia, for this interview, for participating in Quarantine with OLLAS. I think that the work that you do with service learning in and with the Latino community is wonderful. So once again, thank you for participating.
Thank you.